All right, welcome everybody. This is Jamerson here, joined by Harry Leg Day. Bullet, how are you doing today, Leg Day?
I'm pretty good, suffering from hay fever at 1 a.m. So the pollen never stops here in the UK.
Well, you know what? It's okay. You're going to have to suck it up because this is for charity today. We are working on, of course, this is the After Hours Gaming League. Right now, our StarCraft 2 finals is still taking place. I believe Amazon versus Amazon. I believe it's 2-1, 2-0. That was the last scoreline I saw, but we're here for the Overwatch finals, and this is going to be a great day. I mean, these teams have been competing for so many weeks now. It was a pretty rough bracket to actually make it through because they had a really long first Swiss stage to move through, Leg Day.
Yeah, 9 weeks, and these guys they actually faced off against each other in the Swiss stage, I believe. Google did win over Genesys in that particular round, but Genesys have come back strong, managed to make it to the finals, and I think they're hungry for both revenge and a chance to support their charity. That's going to be the Riley's Children's Foundation.
Yeah, so for those of you who aren't familiar with the After Hours Gaming League, the way Day 9 explained it, I liked it a lot. It was kind of like corporate softball, but with video games instead. And so both of these teams, Google and Genesys, are both playing for separate charities. Basically how it worked out, 9 weeks of Swiss, and then of course we went into our playoffs brackets. The pricing breaks down this way. First walks away with $6,500 for their charity. Second will get $2,500 for theirs. Like you had mentioned, Genesys is playing for the Riley Children's Foundation, and Google is playing for Child's Play. This is going to be a best of 5 format. I believe regular Overwatch competitive rules. You know, both of these teams, they've had a really difficult time getting here. Some teams they had to go through. Of course, there were a plethora of other Google teams that they had to beat. Twitch, Amazon, all sorts.
Yeah, all the different tech companies and many others coming in here doing their best to try and earn some money for their preferred charities. And I applaud every single one of them, Jameson, for their efforts. But it has come down to this for the big prize. Child's Play and Riley's Children's Foundation both looking for that $6,500 donation, and Google and Genesys looking to earn it for them. Another little tidbit here. Google in the Swiss stage, they went 7-1. Both of these teams did. They lost to the Twitch team, who Genesys beat in the playoff bracket to get here. So it's a little bit of a mix-up as to which of these teams is stronger. Maybe it's a bit of a rock, paper, scissors thing as to who can beat who, but it's all going to come down to a best of 5 now.
Yeah, that's right. A lot has changed over the course of the last 2 months in Overwatch, right? We've had some big patches coming in. Brigitte coming in, she's huge. The new Hanzo with the Stormbow, even though he got a little bit nerfed, a little bit buffed, a lot of things happened to him. He is strong as heck right now, if you have seen. He is just in full force in the Overwatch League. But let's talk a little bit more about the teams themselves. So we're looking at the Google roster right now. We got Just in Time, Sky. A lot of these players are names that I'm kind of familiar with. I see them on the ladder often. But also, you know, we want to shed a little bit more light on the charity that they're playing for, which is Child's Play. So Child's Play seeks to improve the lives of children in pediatric hospitals and other child welfare facilities through the kindness and generosity of the video game community and the power of play. So they do, you know, like try to gain donations so they can offer nice distractions for children that are in these children's wards, because it is a nice therapeutic way to try and escape, right? From kind of the conditions that you're in, the situation that you're in. So big props out for them. But on the other side, we do, of course, have Genesys, their opponents. And what can you tell me about them, Leg Day?
Well, they're supporting Riley's Children's Foundation, which is pretty similar to the modus operandi of Child's Play, raising awareness for Riley's Children's Hospital. So both of these teams very centered on getting children into places where they feel more comfortable when they're not at their best, let's say. And video games is a great way to do that. I don't know many of these players on Genesis, unfortunately. Like you said, you've seen them on the ladder, but I don't play on North America that often because the ping isn't great for me here in the UK. They've also got their San Francisco Shock logos on there, and it seems like they're being pretty thematic. I'm not sure if Genesis is based in San Francisco, but possibly.
Well, one of the cool things, so there's a player, Sky, I believe he's on Google, and he's rocking the Shanghai Dragons logo. And there's a Sky on Shanghai Dragons. So, you know, it's all thematically lining up here. But you know what? These players have been waiting for a while. So let's go ahead and just get into game. I'm going to give them the ready up, and we're going to get into this as soon as we can. And our first map, it is going to be a best of 5, and we do have the preset maps. What is our first map going to be, Leg Day?
Our first map is going to be what I assume many of you would consider sort of like your home state. It's going to be Hollywood. And we're going into that hybrid. And for those of you who may be new to Overwatch, tuning in for the charities or to support your company's teams, hybrid is based upon the movement of a payload and the capturing of a point. First, you have to move onto a point, and you accrue capture percentage on that point when you, as an attacking team, are within the bounds, but the defenders are not. So you've got to wipe out that team and then stay in the area for a specific amount of time in order to capture that point. And then, after that, the payload unlocks. The payload is a moving objective which you can advance through a preset path the same way as you capture a point, by having your team on it when the defenders are not. Whereas for defenders, if they are on the payload, it's not going to be moving anywhere. And that's when... that's generally their goal. They've got to try and impede the payload progress as much as possible if they lose the point and have it unlocked. The team which moves the payload the furthest is going to be our winner.
So there is a little bit of a glitch on my end. I'm sorry, guys. I am spectating for you guys. I've got that, you know, the cursor glitch that happens every now and then, spectator? I've got that going on right now. So I'm going to fix that real quickly. We do have the pause, and it's going to take a quick 5-10 seconds fix. Let me just get out of this real quickly. We'll get it ready for you guys. Sorry for the delay, but you know, technical difficulties do happen in this broadcast, but we're doing this for the kids, all right? We're doing this for Riley Kids Foundation along with Child's Play, both worthy causes here at the AHGL, you know, and it's great that Google and Genesys, they were able to put aside their time along with the registration fee to be able to do this for the kids. So we're gonna get right back into game, and as soon as we can, it's gonna be fantastic. I mean, we know that a lot of the teams that they went up against, I believe Twitch was one of the semifinalists who had just gone down the week beforehand. I don't quite remember when the matches were played, but Twitch is a really strong team themselves. So I was surprised when I didn't see them making it here to the grand finals. Let me just go ahead. Could you shoot me an invite?
Yeah, Genesys sort of got the upset there. I'm sorry, I can't tell if you're talking because you lagged out at the end there.
Oh no.
We okay?
Yeah, there we go. Never mind, that is the wrong game.
Are you in the wrong game? Are you in there? One sec. I'm inviting you to my group.
Okay.
Can't invite a player while we're in a custom game. This is
yeah.
We have two tech companies fighting for supremacy, but tech is still not our friend here.
You know, we just need to Google how to actually fix this.
Do you think we can ask for team? Hello, Google. How do we get Jameson back in game? Mr. Rock's asking if we have a pause time limit.
We just need Sky to go ahead and send it back to lobby, and we'll get right back into this, guys. Yeah, once again, this is the After Hours Gaming League. I believe this was started back in like 2011, 2012. The first time I tuned in, it was the grand finals. It was presented by, it was Day 9 and HD Husky. Yeah, it was Husky StarCraft. It was H the Husky, and they did the StarCraft too. I miss the guy. I miss Husky. I believe he went on to like manage his girlfriend's book career or something along those lines, like cooking career. And of course, Day 9 is still doing tons of work in gaming. As you saw, he was casting Dota earlier. And then he's casting StarCraft 2 right now with Maynard. But it is going to be Overwatch, and it looks like, yes, we do not have the bug. We can just move right on into it. So it is going to be Google starting off on the blue side. And on the red side, it is going to be Genesys. Remember, this is a best-of-5 series. So the first 3 maps will walk away with the win, along with the $6,500 to the charity of their choice. And we are starting off here on Hollywood, and that is a hybrid map. What can you tell our viewers about hybrid maps?
Well, we ran through just about how it works. You have a central point in this little parking lot here, which I'm sure Jameson's going to show you. The attackers are going to move to try and take control of that area. Once they are within the bounds, they need to try and remove the defending team, because if a defender is within that, no matter how many players of the attacker there, progress cannot be accumulated towards a capture. Once the attacking team are on the point but the defenders aren't, capture progress will tick up towards 100%. Once it reaches 100%, that limousine right there, that's going to become the new objective. That is the payload. It's going to move across a set path around the rest of the map. The defenders, once again, are going to be trying to thwart the progress of that payload, and they do so by stepping into the bounds of its zone of influence. And by doing that, they stop it moving. They cannot push it back actively. After attackers have not been on the payload for 10 seconds, it will start to move backwards. They've got to try and keep the pace up if they want to get it towards the end of the map.
That was beautiful. You happen to do this for a living, by the way, Leg Day?
Casting Overwatch? Never.
Never? Okay. Well, let's get you in on that. But now, yeah, it is going to be Genesys starting off on the attacking end. They're going to go for that quasi-triple tank, right? Brigitte, I like to think of her as like an off-tank role, and their solo DPS is going to be that far, so Bronx is going to have to do a lot of damage with her. Luckily, she does have the Mercy to give that damage boost over. Oh, it's going to be the Fire Strike coming out. Take out Stark, and already they're just mowing down Google, who have not been able to put up a defense so far.
Genesys in a dominant position. Nubstrike's gone for a second charge, and that's his second hit as well. Down goes Sky. And it's going to be raining tonight. Raining blood, unfortunately, on the side of Google's defense. Genesys coming in with a rather dominant attack. And like we said, now they have control of the point. They're going to start accruing percentage. Google can try and come back and get in on this. And it doesn't look like Just in Time is going to be trying to do just that. But he's not going to be just in time. He's just in time, in fact, for his respawn. Sent right back, and the payload's going to start moving now. Genesys here are the attacking team. They need to stay on that limousine, and it will begin to move forward, as you can see here. Google, in the meanwhile, they need to move. They need to get on this to try and stop its progress forward.
Yeah, that's one of the difficulties of playing the defensive team. The offense can come out with a composition that's kind of just like rock, paper, scissors and beats yours. And you can't switch off because it's so far away from the spawn. Once you see this far out, you want to have something like a hit scan come in, which is why Just in Time has swapped over to the Widowmaker. Bronx, he got tagged, so now he's hiding a bit because he doesn't want to leave his head in the sights of that Widowmaker. We do have a quick pause. Let's see if we can find out what's going on here. But yeah. I mean, the Widowmaker swap off, I think it's perfect coming out from the side of Google. It's going to deal with the Pharah, hopefully, as long as Justin can connect with those shots.
Just so long as Justin can connect with those shots. But to give you some context, audience, that was an automatic pause on the side of the game climb because like Wakel has had a disconnection. And unfortunately, that does mean he is going to lose the ultimate percentage that he has accrued thus far. And I believe Wakel was playing this in Yata, so... Zenyatta's ultimate is called Transcendence. It provides 300 healing per second to everyone within the radius for about 6 seconds, and that's a huge amount of healing. An incredibly useful ultimate, and Wakel has in fact lost power, which is
that's unfortunate.
That is very unfortunate.
Yikes. I don't know if he's like living out here in Southern California. There is a fire advisory out in the Aliso Viejo area. They were recently doing, I believe, evacuations of the area. There is a Google campus down here. I don't know where these employees are from, but you know, either NorCal or SoCal. If they're from SoCal, that might be quite possibly why. Hopefully we can get him back into this. Phoenix shouting out the Twitch chat. Thank you guys for tuning in. Right now, I know a lot of you guys are still over at Day9's channel watching the StarCraft 2 finals. I believe that's still taking place between Amazon and Amazon. You know, there was a world. There was a darker timeline where Google could have been facing off against Google here in the finals also.
Google versus Google finals would have been rather interesting to be searching for a victory, of course. Ha ha! But, of course, with that fire advisory in effect, everyone in California, I hope you stay safe. We've never really experienced that sort of thing here in the UK, so that's quite a scary thing for me to think about.
California is kind of different with the weather. Like the rest of the country, you know, you'll have like, you've heard of snow days. You have snow days over there, right?
Yeah, we have snow days.
So
yeah, we have no idea how to deal with any kind of weather. The second anything but rain or like light clouds, or like, no, country is shut down for today. We've had enough.
We have fire days here in Southern California, where fires shut down schools. Right? If they're close enough, if the ash is starting to fall on us and everything, we have fire days. I mean, that happened back in my high school. I used to go to high school in Los Osos, which was in Rancho Cucamonga, and we had a lot of fires.
That is a place name.
That is a place name. It is. A lot of people aren't familiar with it unless they've watched like Friday. I believe like the second or third Friday movie took place in Rancho. Beyond that, there's nothing to do there. I think Rotterdam, a StarCraft 2 caster, used to live out there. And yeah, there's nothing to do out there at all whatsoever. So if you're looking to move to Southern California, don't go there.
That is such an alien concept to me. 5 days sounds like some sort of like promotional event for like a Pokemon game.
Yeah.
Like you'll be able to get extra Charmanders in Pokemon Go.
Fire Red Day, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Pokemon Go Fire Red Day, let's go.
Fire Red, oh man. I miss
No, the
playing
worst
those
part
games.
was though, like, it's great, you get the day off, but then they add on that additional school day at the end of the year. So even though you get that one day off, your summer comes a little bit later. But in Southern California, it's basically summer all year round anyhow. So I don't know if it really does take away from it. They're asking for the ready up, and it looks like we did get a substitution in. So he wasn't able to get back into the game, but Weeble and Bob will be substituting for them because, well, it's an act of God. Let's go ahead and give them the sub, guys. So he's going to be coming back in. He does need to swap off. It looks like he thinks he's a DPS, so he's going to go into the Pharah role. It's going to be solo support in Trillo for them. But Justin was able to get two kills there, taking out Bronx along with that Lucio kill bill sent back to the spawn.
Yeah, it may well have been an act of God, which removed Google's support from the game. But where's your God now? Well, just in time is coming down from the top, and Stark laying down the hammer as well. He's going to be taken aback, though. Attrition managing to wear him down. Trillo going in there for Rez and will be successful. Stark is back in the game and keeping that payload contested. You can see now that the progress has been halted. The attackers forced backwards. Stark going in for a charge, but isn't going to connect. Attrition is still hanging around here, but it's being beset upon from all sides. And finally, Weeble and Bob are going to be claiming his first kill. Welcome to the match, Weeble. I hope that your charity appreciates your efforts.
I mean, he's been in the game for about a minute now. He's already at 68, maybe 70% for that Pharah ultimate. They're still rocking triple DPS, by the way, solo support, which honestly, you can get away with. But here comes the Graviton Surge out. Bronx doesn't have the barrage ready, so he's not going to be able to follow it up as just in time connects with that headshot onto Zhao's. And there it is, the Space Dragon combo, Graviton counter surge out from Google with the follow-up. Hanzo, Dragon Strike will be able to clean them up.
And for those of you who are potentially a little bit new to Overwatch, that combination right there from Sky and Mr. Rocks is one of the most prevalent combinations of, let's call it a wombo combo, Jameson. That's basically what it is in Overwatch at the moment. The Graviton Surge from Zaya, the pink-haired, muscular Russian lady, grabs everyone together and stops them from moving. And then Mr. Rocks, as Hanzo, can lay out a huge area of effect Dragon, which does huge damage to everyone within the radius. So, while we're caught in there, they're sitting ducks. And so was Zhao, just in time, picking them out of the sky, playing a little bit of duck hunt here on Hollywood 2nd.
Yeah, Zhao, you do get passive healing, but that's not going to stop the burst damage coming out from Just in Time, who's been on top, able to get off these kills. Bronx will be able to get the barrage off, but it's the counter barrage from Weeble and Bob that picks up 2. So now, Google, they weren't able to defend much on point A, but come here second into the Westworld phase of Hollywood, they are putting the hammer down on them.
Justice truly is blind because it was flying in both directions there, but Genesys are still being stalled out here, despite such a quick capture of the first point and getting the payload into motion. They've been stalled out here for a good 4 minutes or so now, maybe 3 minutes. 2 minutes and 30 remain on the clock and to try and get to the next parking space for this payload. After they reach that, they will get an additional 1 minute and 30 seconds into their time bank, and they'll progress into the third and final stage of the map. But between them and such a scenario, play Google, and they're loaded for bear. They have the Earth Shadow from Stark again, a Valkyrie ready to go from Chillo, and Mr. Rocks with the Dragon Strike.
Attrition has swapped off onto the McCree to try and deal with the Pharah, but the real big issue is Just in Time. He's been uncontested this whole time on this Widowmaker. Takes out Kill Bill initially. It's a 3-for-1 exchange. Now Attrition only taking out Stark, who's been very aggressive with this Reinhardt. If you can see, he's all the way over at that gate. That's where he fell. And now it looks like Attrition. Oh, he takes a sniper bullet, and then a rocket to the face will fall to Weeble and Bob. The thing is, Google, they're still running a triple DPS composition, and it's not an orthodox composition that you see out of teams. It's, you know, it comes out in maps like Junkertown, very niche picks. Generally, you don't see it here on Hollywood, but it is working out for them.
It's working out for them very well because all three of the DPS, the Widowmaker, the Hanzo, and the and the Pharah all have access to vertical movement ability, so they can control the high ground. But Sky's trying to end the movement here. Everyone's stuck there in the Graviton Surge, and while Mr. Rock may have sent in the Dragon to try and clean it up, it was Weeble and Bob laying in the explosives and taking them all down. Google standing strong with a minute left for Genesys, and now they need to flounder and try and get some kills. They've got barely any ultimates to work with, just the Valkyrie and the Earth Shadow.
Really, it was just Weeble and Bob coming in for the kill still up against Mr. Rocks, because they did get that Graviton Surge Dragon Strike combo again, but it was just that one rocket that ended up finishing about 3 people. Early Valk coming out from Zhao's now as they're making possibly their last foray onto this point now, but the Storm Bows does so much damage. Bronx finally takes out just in time. Weeble and Bob gone. So 2 out of the 3 DPS make that all 3 DPS gone for the Google defense, and now finally the offense really getting to move forward now. Barrage along with the Deadeye, everything committed almost by the side of Genesys here, except for the Earthshatter, but they still have to make it around this final bend.
Genesys knew they needed to cash in their trump cards and try and get all the returns that they could. Google going to be scrambling now for a last-second defense. 15 seconds remain on the clock. Genesys will be able to move this cart forward as long as they are on it. Even if they run out of time, we will move into overtime. Phoenix gets an opening hook onto Sky, and Stark manages to block the Earthshatter coming in from Nubstrike. That may well be the opening that they need.
Yeah, Nubstrike tried to go for that Earthshatter, but he got booped just a little bit into the jail. Wasn't able to do anything at all, and it looks like the defense has come back, was able to force them all off the point. And that was just that big misstep coming out from Nubstrike. Well, it wasn't a misstep. He was forced out of position with that Earthshatter, and so they weren't able to do anything at all. And that was the only thing they could really rely upon, because they had thrown everything else at the fight beforehand. Possibly, I believe Zhao's on the Zenyatta was, or Kill Bill on the Zenyatta was sitting at like 95% Transcendence. If he could have hit 1 or 2 more Ores of Destruction, would have been able to get it out, keep his team topped off. But, you know, that's just what ifs at this point.
Fips and butts for candy and nuts and something about a rhyme, Jameson. I don't really know it, to be honest. I wanted to sound somewhat smart, but I failed miserably. But you know who does look smart? Google. With that fantastic defense there. 1 point in 110 meters is all the Genesys have in the bank, and that means they're going to have to put up a stellar defense on this first point if they want to have any chance of holding this. Meanwhile, Google, they need to take the first point, get that payload moving, and then complete the first stage or thereabouts of Hollywood in order to claim map 1 here in the After Hours Gaming League Grand Finals for Overwatch Season 1.
Yeah, they did get it very far, and they got it to a point where a lot of teams end up struggling here on the second phase of Hollywood, which is just before the checkpoint, right? The defensive respawns are so much closer than the offensive respawns that you're able to just regroup. If you lose someone, if it's a long enough protracted fight, you'll get the respawn, eventually have the 6v5. The trades definitely favor the defense here. Now remember, on Google's defense, there wasn't much of one on point A. So we'll see what Genesys can do. Right now, it looks like they're going to rock a 2-2-2 composition. It is evenly spread out between the different kind of roles. You got your 2 DPS in Bronx with the Pharah and attrition on the Soldier 76. So it looks like they want to try and counter possible Soldier 76 on the opposite side. I mean, Pharah on the opposite side.
Both teams are actually opting for the Pharah. Very popular here in the corporate scene, shall we say. Already start taking a little bit of damage there. Nubstrike throwing out the Fire Strike and has got some damage in, but already Weeble and Bob is under huge pressure. Attrition, that Soldier 76 is a hit scan DPS. That means he can hit the targets from far away pretty much instantaneously, and he's the best counter you can get to a Pharah, because you're guaranteed for your shots to hit if you're aiming them correctly.
Not quite a hit scan, but with the new projectile changes for the Hanzo, it's very near close to that. And take a look, he's already at 80%. That's the Storm Arrows. Kind of like a mini ultimate. It does so much damage, but they get a little bit too aggressive. Nubstrike, with the help of his team, are able to clean up too. Here comes a Dragon Strike, but I don't think he's actually going to catch on to anyone. He's going to try his best. Mr. Rocks will with that Hanzo. He will pick up 1 kill with the Sonic Arrow of all arrows onto that Pharah.
And Bronx has been revived, and I think that does actually remove the Sonic Arrow from the corpse where it was before, so no more vision available for Mr. Rocks. Of course, the Sonic Arrow, once you latch it into place or into someone, it gives a radius around which you have what we would classically call wall hacks, so you can see through walls and see where your targets are going to be in relation to that arrow.
Weeble and Bob tried to make another entry in there, but attrition, of course, that natural counter to the Pharah, was able to take him out. Resurrection comes on in, so it's going to be down for another 30 seconds. Weeble and Bob doesn't want to take to the skies because of that Soldier 76. We got the tactical visor out, and he's already picked up a kill onto Mr. Rocks. He's got the pocket right now of that Mercy, does attrition, so even though you get this poke damage off, you're not going to be able to kill him.
Indeed, Genesys are loaded for bear in the next fight. Already 3 ultimates on the board. The Graviton Surge, the Earth Shatter, and the Transcendence, and Bronx is quickly building up yet again to that all-important barrage. Weeble and Bob's going to be able to meet him there, 96%. So it may be a tale of 2 Gravitons here. The question is, who's going to better place their singularity?
There we go. Graviton Surge has come out with the barrage, but the Transcendence was there to cancel it all out. On the opposite end, the big difference here was that there was a damage boosted barrage instead. That's what you need. You need that little extra bit of help for that Pharah with the barrage in that combo to get it off. But I don't think Weeble and Bob received the damage boost out from Trillo.
And now Weeble and Bob, he's had enough of this Pharah duel in the air. He's going to be moving over to that Soldier 76. We talked about the hit scan before, how effective it can be at plucking those Pharahs out of the sky with those quick shots to the head or the body. And already Bronx has been afflicted with a Discord up, means he takes 30% extra damage. He's going to have to move elsewhere while Stark is going to move in. He's leading the charge here, going up against Nubstrike, ready to lay down the hammer. There it goes onto Phoenix. He's laid down on the ground, but quickly, attrition from the top is going to be the saving grace.
Now Zhao's, he does have that Valkyrie if he wants to pop it into this defense right now. Mr. Rocks, he's got the Dragon Strike up from above. He tries to use the Storm Arrows, but does not connect with it. Still waiting. He's got the Sonic Arrow out, but now he's going to get challenged by attrition. Who sees 5 other members on the high ground here will back away, as everyone is just waiting it out. It's Weeble and Bob to start it off, but it's a 1-for-1 exchange as Just in Time falls.
Oh, flying a little bit low there. Bronx getting clipped with a hammer, and now Kill Bill's the only remaining defender on the point, but he is going to be rejoined. Mr. Rocks from the other side coming in with a Dragon Strike, and he has managed to catch Kill Bill. Nubstrike is going to be here with his trusty co-tank Phoenix, but now it's just Zhao living in the air, living on a prayer as well, and that prayer is not going to be answered today. Where's your god now? Stark is going to claim that kill, and Google likely going to be claiming the point.
And that was an excellent defense coming out from Genesys, actually, because we saw Google fold up against the first push that came out from Genesys on their attack. Now, moving into this next phase, they're only going to have 2 minutes and 40 seconds, will Google, to make it all the way to the end here. Sky has to be careful. He's got a large charge, and he's very close to that Graviton Surge. He wants to maintain that charge on that Zarya that he builds up by using the barriers and soaking up the damage that way, because she does so much more damage. And she needs to be able to help in the shield battles up against this Rhine right now. Graviton Surge already accumulated now.
You can see that they're trying to break Nubstrike's shield so that he can't use it to defend the remainder of his team while they are caught in that Graviton. There it goes. Nubstrike no longer has their shield available. Down goes the slam. Zhao and Kill Bill going to hit the floor. But there's not going to be any follow-up there. They're going to manage to survive that, but Nubstrike and Phoenix will not. The tank line is down, and so is attrition. Up in the air, Bronx tried his utmost, but Weeble and Bob is going to shoot him down, and Google, they're surging forward, and they might manage to catch out Kill Bill here and stagger him. There it is. Oh, what an execution.
Yeah, that was a great understanding coming out from Google. We saw that Nubstrike was very low, and he was trying to fall back to the safety of his team on that Reinhardt to get more heals, because, well, you don't want to try and play a frontline Reinhardt with 200 HP, and that left, of course, Phoenix on the opposite end, very vulnerable. Graviton Surge comes out, it connects out to both tanks, and there's the follow-up. That's the Space Jam combo coming out from the Space Dragon combo, along with a Tactical Visor. And even though Google, they were stunted on point A, it looks like they're just going to breeze on through point B of Hollywood as they clean up Genesys and take map number 1.
A Pharah, a mercy and a dream, but the dream is now dead, stomped out by Google. The dominant performance on the middle stage of Hollywood. Unfortunately, their attack on the first point wasn't quite as dominating as we would have thought. Genesys had about 3 more minutes to try and push in mid, but we could see that when it came to utilizing the high ground on the defense, Google really understood. And Weeble and Bob there getting play of the game with some well-placed rockets into the Graviton Surge. You can see just how effective that splash damage can be when everyone's getting the group hug treatment.
Well, yeah, Weeble and Bob, 85 rocket direct hits, 45% of rockets fired. That's actually pretty nuts accuracy, and especially in this meta, where it is, of course, very Pharah Mercy heavy. That means a lot of damage-boosted rockets coming out, and it does explosive amounts of damage, to say the least. It looks like there are some ping issues. They might want to restart the lobby. We'll see if it's worth doing it. But yeah, let's just go ahead and bring it back to you and I. What did you see coming out from Google that they were doing correctly on their defense?
Google's defense was very much about being able to move around their Mercy. And that's because they had 2 tanks on the ground. They had Stark and the Zarya, the Reinhardt and the Zarya on the ground. Very lacking in verticality, but they are a formidable force when going toe-to-toe with an opponent. However, we also saw the double sniper, the Widow, and the Hanzo, both with a lot of vertical mobility, and the Pharah. Do you know what that means, Jameson? It means that when you're running your solo support Mercy, she's incredibly hard to pin down, could just move between all these points of interest very quickly by using her Guardian Angel ability, which is only on a 2-second cooldown, and allows her to join up with an enemy, rather with an ally within 30 meters very quickly by just flying to them. And that makes her incredibly evasive.
Yeah, we saw, like, there were very few times where she actually went down in the team fights. Their Mercy was doing a fantastic job of staying alive, and well, she kind of had to as a solo support. I know what that's like in my own comp games where, well, now I have basically been deemed a Mercy main, but it's honestly Mercy main by default, not by my own choosing, by the way. But yeah, it is so important to keep that Mercy alive because, of course, defensively she's great, right? Single target healing. It's one of the highest, maybe, you know, just behind Ana. But also, that combination, right? When there's an enemy Zenyatta on the opposite end, even if you get that Dragon Strike along with the Graviton Surge combo, it's almost equal in terms of healing and damage. You need that damage boost from the Mercy to come out, to send it over the top so that the combination is actually successful, whether it be from the Barrage that we saw coming out quite frequently from Weeble and Bob, or from Mr. Rocks with that Dragon Strike.
Yeah, those combination ultimates really do need their supports to also help them out. Because, like we said before, Transcendence does 300 healing per second, and the Dragon does 300 damage per second. However, with the damage boost, which is 30%, just 390, which will evaporate people quite quickly with the damage differential there. 90 DPS, nothing to sniff at.
Not at all. And now we're moving on to map number 2. So, already 1-0 in the favor of Google. It looks like they're going to be able to bring Waycool back, and they've subbed out just in time. So, Weeble and Bob is still in this. It was kind of surprising, right? Because they subbed Weeble and Bob in, and instantly he was just like, I'm not playing support. Like, I'm just going straight into that Pharah. He just asserted his dominance on that Pharah. But this is a map in which certain points, there are 3 separate points of Ilios here. We're going to be starting it off on Ruins, where a Pharah does come into play, but also Widowmaker. So I'm surprised that they actually took out just in time. But, you know, it's all RNG. We don't know which one we're going to be starting off with. And it looks like they might be going for that Pharah Hanzo once again.
Well, the Pharah Hanzo has been serving quite well thus far, but for those of you who have been following Overwatch, historically, this stage of Ilios, Ruins, is well known for the Widowmaker play because of the long sightline you can get from on top of some of these ruined buildings. Though, it does look like neither team is going to be opting for that. It's going to be double Pharah, so we're going to see some dogfighting up in the air, but we do see a difference in approaches when it comes to the support. Zhao and Kill Bill going to be going for Moira and Lucy. These are both proximity-based healers. They thrive when their team is close together in what we like to call a death ball, whereas Google, Trillo and Waycool will be on Mercy and Zenyatta. Those are both point healers. They concentrate their healing on one particular individual each, so their team can be a little bit more spread out.
The biggest issue here for the Genesys composition is that they do have a Pharah, but they don't have a Mercy with it. And like you had mentioned, the proximity healing coming out from both the Lucy and the Moira on the red side, it's not going to be really enough for Bronx to be able to stay in the air. He takes one hit from Mr. Rocks, the second one comes in. Without that healing, he instantly goes down. It's a 2-man advantage now as Waycool takes out Nubstrike. Attrition will finally answer back, but the large bulk of his team is already gone, and he's going to be the next to fall, as Stark is the one to hit him with that Fire Strike.
Weeble and Bob and Mr. Rocks there coming in from different angles, making sure that Nubstrike couldn't shield himself from everything. Second, he threw a shield up towards Weeble and Bob. Mr. Rocks was putting those arrows into his backside. Of a second, he was worried about the Archer. He had some rockets raining down on his head. So Genesys now need to reevaluate their approach and see how they're going to deal with this multi-angle threat.
Dragon Strike already accrued by Mr. Rocks, and with that Sonic Arrow, he knows the tanks are right there. It's Kill Bill. He doesn't have the fancy feet to really try and dodge that. Charge does come out, Mr. Rocks dropping low, but he's able to just duck out of there with that pass of his, that extra jump that gives him the horizontal movement that is sorely needed on someone who didn't really have that much mobility before in this Hanzo. So now Google, they've already accrued 40%. They need 100 to capture this first point.
And for those of you who may be wondering, Attrition there threw himself off the edge on purpose. It was to make sure he died quickly and could respawn with his team so they can attack as a 6. And as you can see up at the top, percentage is accruing for Google. When it reaches 100%, they will score a point and claim this stage. You need to score 2 points in order to claim the control map, so they're already halfway to claiming their first. This looks good for Google, and they've already got 5 ultimates on the board as well to try and meet this push.
But do they really need it when they have Mr. Rocks just landing every arrow at this point? Attrition has already been taken out, but Stark on the opposite end. Oh, Earthshatter came out, but Mr. Rocks was able to get off one last arrow to take him out, and so that Earthshatter does absolutely nothing.
Bronx there hitting the double onto Trillo, removing the Valkyrie, but it's not quite enough. The remainder of Genesys couldn't really pick up the kills, and now Attrition's getting bullied down, potentially Nubstrike is as well, but no! He came in with a double kill, the man swinging for the heavens, and maybe he can get Stark as well, but he's got a Farah up above and laying down the extra damage. Not going to be enough. 87% of the way for Google. One percentage point per second. That means there's 8 seconds remaining now for Genesys to move forward. They've got 2 offensive ultimates to try and use to try and flip this one around, but they're on their last chance now, Jameson.
And this isn't a fast army. They are able to actually touch the point. Nubstrike charges in on, and he's able to clean up Stark. And with the follow-up coming out from Attrition with, of course, that tactical visor, they will finally flip it just in the nick of time for Genesys. But still, this is going to be an uphill battle because they did commit a number of ultimates, both of their DPS ultimates in the barrage along with that tactical visor. Come this next fight, there's a huge combo lying in wait for them.
Yeah, they're going to have to try and force out that combat, but putting pressure onto Sky, make sure he's not in the ideal position when he throws out that Graviton Surge. But you can't save ultimates for next round, so they need to make that investment. But now, potentially, there's the Graviton Surge. Sky coming in from the top, there's the barrage. All the ultimates are coming in. They managed to take out Weeble and Bob while he was laying down with Justice, but will it be enough to save the remainder of his team? There was a Transcendence there from Kill Bill, their last hope. They've got both support ults now. There's so much healing on the point, but slowly Google are trying to grind this one out.
Transcendence way cool. He's got 1 HP, but he doesn't pop it in that fight for some reason. And so, looks like Genesys will be able to hold on as Bronx, with the help of his Mercy, will be able to stay in this fight and clean up the members of Google. So Google had actually committed a lot of ultimates into that. It was both their Dragon Strike along with their Barrage and that Graviton Surge, and things looked great, but you know, it was just in finishing off that fight where they really struggled. Way cool. He had that Transcendence. He was sitting on 1 HP. Could have kept his tanks topped off, but instead he's going to be holding on to it. So they do have another fight here, but that's allowed Genesys to get back into this, and now they actually have a real big chance to win out this point.
Absolutely do. They only need to hold it for about 25 more seconds. The people are being laid down on the ground. There's a block on the Shadow and Bronx from the side. That's a double offensive ultimate once again from Genesys with a tactical visor and the barrage coming in. But Weeble and Bob and Mr. Rocks are both still here. Zeus has gone down. Nubstrike's under pressure as well. There's only 3 members of Genesys remaining, and here come Google. The tide's coming in. The question is, will they be able to sustain in this particular fight? Weeble and Bob managed to take down Attrition.
Yeah, Weeble and Bob was just living up to his name, actually abusing the architecture of the map. Those pillars along with the statues to make sure that Soldier 76 couldn't take him out of the sky. With the final barrage along with the rocket onto Bronx, they're going to flip it in favor of Google. And it was a long affair here on Ruins, but they will walk away with the first point on Ilios.
And let's talk about why both of these teams managed to hold it to 99%. Something about Farah, which you should know if you're new to Overwatch. The flying rockety one. It's Farah. She's much better to defend a point with than she is to attack. And that's because when a team is coming towards you, you can be a lot more commanding with angles, and you can lay down that poke fire while they're coming through these set choke points to try and contest that point. And because of that, they're a lot softer when they reach the remainder of your DPS and your tank, so it's a lot easier to pick up those kills. Whereas if you're attacking, the defense don't have to go anywhere because they don't need to move on to a point. They can be lackadaisical. They can just sit there sipping a margarita and not have to peek you. So it's much harder to get that damage done on your way in.
Oh, are we sipping margaritas or are we going to be sipping on some Uvo? Because we are here, Ilios, Greece now, as we move on to Lighthouse. It's round number 2 on Ilios. We're seeing Google. They want to close this out. They want to take the early 2-0 lead in this best of 5 against Genesys. Weeble and Bob on that Farah. Getting taken down just a bit by Attrition. Bronx hasn't been able to land a rocket quite yet. That finally he is answering back, but oh, that's a great concussive blast coming out from Weeble and Bob to get Nubstrike into the waiting maw of Stark. It's a 1-for-1 exchange here, but Mr. Rocks once again on that Hanzo, able to come up for his team and find the frags, but he's got to be careful trying to go after Bronx here. Bronx picks up way cool, but it's going to be Weeble and Bob to take out, of course, his Farah counterpart.
Google prioritize the point. They have got control of it now, but Nubstrike's going to make sure they're not there for long. He's swinging for the fences and Attrition's on the back. He's just jammed his rifle up the backside of that Zarya, and he let loose of an entire magazine. Oh, that is going to be a quick number of kills there for Attrition. Both of these Farahs are doing incredibly well thus far. Weeble and Bob and Bronx putting on a clinic, but Attrition For me, he was the hero of that particular fight there. 18% was accrued for Google in terms of percentage, but now Genesys have control.
Yeah, generally in an Overwatch team fight, when you lose your main tank, that's pretty bad. But on the opposite end, losing your support, I think is kind of worse there because he does offer so much more sustain. But already, coming back, it's Mr. Rocks already able to take out Bronx from the sky. Quasi kind of hit scan. Earthshatter comes out, lands onto Phoenix as Nubstrike goes for a counter. Earthshatter connects onto both tanks. He goes in for the charge, gets the confirm onto Sky. So it's a 2-for-1, excuse me, a 2-for-3 exchange. But Trillo will be able to bring Sky back into this. And so now Google will be able to lay down the hammer, take over the point, as Genesys only accrues 38%.
Fast turnover of control here. Jameson back and forth and back and forth. Bronx here desperately trying to avoid those rockets coming in from Weeble and Bob. And look at Google. Once again, they have both their offensive ultimates. We've seen that they've been very keen of using them both at once in order to try and make sure they can firm kills. And Sky's almost got the Graviton.
Yeah, Graviton Surge comes out early from Phoenix because Bronx is sitting at 99%. Does have it now. Kill Bill will be the one that gets the kill onto Stark as Bronx is laying in wait above that. Zenyatta will be able to just finish him off with the rocket. Sound barrier is going to be used. There's a Graviton Surge, but the barrage is there from Bronx to clean up too. It's Stark, the lone man on the point. Never mind, Mr. Rocks is still there with the Hanzo going head-to-head up against Attrition, but the Storm Arrows is not as strong as the AD coming out from Attrition. And so Genesys will be able to walk away with that team fight and flip it just in time for them.
For 1v1, the hero, everyone just falling by the wayside, and it came down to a battle of two minds, Mr. Rocks versus Attrition, and as it usually does, given time, Attrition won out.
Really living up to his name there, just slowly grinding away, of course, against his opponents now. They want to keep this alive, right? They don't want to allow Google to get the 2-0 lead here because it's pretty hard to try and get a reverse sweep, although we did see some of that in our OWL matches this week alone. Earthshatter comes out, but it's going to be Nubstrike that connects onto 3. There is the follow-up. That is a swift team fight win coming up from Genesys.
Oh, Stark may be a genius, billionaire, philanthropist, but it is Nubstrike bringing him to school right now when it comes to the Earthshatters. He is outclassing him in every single ultimate as far as I've seen thus far on Ilios. Google now up against the wall. Genesys, they are 15 seconds away from evening up the scoreline here on Ilios. Weeble and Bob has the barrage in the back pocket. He's been so effective on this far. He needs to put this in a very crucial position and try and take out Zhao and Kill Bill if he wants his team to be led to success.
But it's Attrition on the high ground. Barrage is used as he tries to go for that tactical visor. So the counter is countered by Weeble and Bob, and with that, they will be able to flip it and keep this alive. 99% accrued for Genesys, as you see. Bronx, buddy, you need to reset yourself now. There we go.
It goes. Yeah, if anyone else, it was a distraction tactic from Bronx on Genesys, realizing the remainder of his team were a pile of bodies that he thought were a little bit more lively. Now Genesys have to reset, and we are getting into final fight territory here. Google are in position to try and claim a 2-0 lead in the entire series here if they can hold on for one more fight.
But that was a huge staggered elimination onto Nubstrike. You want your main tank to be able to touch the point, but now it's at 96% and no one is even near it. It's just Google cleaning them all up as they are funneling in one by one, and with that, they will go ahead and take an early 2-0 lead up against Genesys.
2-0. Google showing off a little bit of dominance here, despite a couple of interesting, let's say, interactions between DPS. I'm sure Attrition, despite Genesys having lost that round, will be pretty proud of that 1v1 with Mr. Rocks, even with the Storm Arrow coming out. I know I'd be proud if I was Soldier 76 in that particular position. And we're going to be heading over to our third map incredibly shortly. It's going to be a different kind of map. Once again, it's going to be an assault map. And the assault map, James, it's like the hybrid map. You know, the first point we had on Hollywood. It's like that, but there's two of them. The first point's a little bit easier because the attacker spawn is significantly closer than the defensive spawn. And then you move further into a map for a second point, which the defenders are very close to in terms of spawn points, and the attackers are much further away from. So attrition is never in the attacker's favor on second point, but it is on the first point. So you can try and trade out kills in order to claim these areas.
Now, it does look like we're going to take a quick bio break. Well, the players are going to take a quick bio break. I don't know if you need one. I don't. I kind of want to stick around and talk about this a little bit more. So yeah, Google already 2-0 in the lead, and just with the way that their DPS are playing right now, they are looking on point to possibly take map number 3. Mr. Rocks has been doing a fantastic job so far. I think we've only seen him on the Hanzo for Google so far.
Yeah, the man has fantastic control of the arrows on Hanzo, and Hanzo was recently buffed. Well, also recently nerfed, but let's say he was, all in all, he was reworked, Jameson.
Yeah.
He no longer has an ability that he used to have called Scatter Eye, which was very effective for bursting down tanks in one hit. But now he has something that deals a lot more consistent damage called Storm Arrow, which means he doesn't have to draw back his bow in order to fire a full charge arrow. And each of those does 70 damage when they hit. And given that most heroes in this game have 200 health, you'll need to hit 3 of those in quick succession. You can shoot 3 arrows in a minute, or rather in a second, with a Storm Arrow. And that's why he's such a DPS powerhouse right now.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever played Diablo 2, Lord of Destruction. It's like when you get a Wind Force bow for the first time, right? That's what it feels like. You just mow down everything. Right now, they're asking for us to turn up the volume just a little bit. I'll go ahead and do that for you guys, chat. There we go. That should be twice as loud as it currently is. We're still waiting right now for Google to get their swaps and their players back in. But yeah, the Hanzo reworks, I like it a lot, but I still feel like there's a little bit too much strength in that Storm Arrow ability of his. If there are any number of squishier targets near him or inside of him, they can easily melt because the headshot damage is a lot. And with the prevalence of Mercy, we see a lot of Hanzos getting pocketed by her and getting that damage boost. And that's why we saw, I believe it was on Hollywood, on Google's offense, where Mr. Rocks, he was able to build up his Dragon Strike within, I think it was roughly the first minute.
Yeah, he had it incredibly quickly. Both of the hands is actually just throwing out Dragon Strikes left, right, and center. But I want to highlight another player. Let's keep it even. Let's keep it impartial. Bronx on the side of Genesys. This man is a monster Farah. Himself and Weeble and Bob both. But Bronx has been very impressive to me because Zhao and Kill Bill have been dying quite a lot due to the pressure put on by Weeble and Bob and Mr. Rocks. So it's been a lot harder for Bronx to try and stay alive. She doesn't have that consistent healing that you get so much on Google when your supports aren't quite so threatened.
We almost had a false start on the play. The yellow flag going out. No. It looks like Genesys are ready as we do move on to, of course, it is going to be Volskaya Industries here. And you know how thematically correct it is because we have so many Zaryas in play. And we're seeing why she is so strong in the current meta of Overwatch. You know, in my GM games, I know I was in Masters for a while. In the Masters games too, she is so incredibly strong. The utility she provides, of course, with her barriers, and if she can just build up enough charge, she does massive amounts of damage, is able to melt down the 200 HP targets as we do have a pause coming on out, and then she just synergizes so well.
Okay, Sky didn't pause, so yeah, Waycool has lost his power again, I assume. They did just sub out Weeble and Bob for just in time, so I imagine Weeble and Bob will be coming back in short order, because poor Waycool, man.
Yikes.
That is a yikes, man.
I mean, you know, you guys have Google Fiber, now you might want to get, like, Google Energy. Gotta start working on that, guys. I don't have fiber in my area yet, though, so please, Google, help me out here, my dudes. No, okay, what's the point? Okay, so, you know, I do have Fios in my area, right? But it's a 1 terabyte data limit. What's the point of having Fios if there's a 1 terabyte limit?
Okay, we understand that you really need some better internet and Google Fiber can provide, but both of these teams are looking to provide for 2 very worthwhile charities. See, experts know where this is what pays the bills. Child's Play for the side of Google and Riley's Children Foundation on the side of Genesys. Google currently just 1 point away from earning $6,500 for Child's Play. And
how much is that in euros or in pounds?
I honestly don't know. It's probably about £4,000.
Okay, no, we'll stick with 6,500 because it sounds larger.
Yeah, definitely. And also, if you gave the donation in pounds and they're a US-based charity, what am I going to do with this?
What is this play money?
You've just given me some Monopoly money.
That's kind of
Why
one
would
of the
you
worst
do
parts.
this?
That's kind of one of the worst parts. Like I guess I like US bills, you know, they're all uniform, but I like the idea of having different size bills for, you know, different denominations because, well, it makes sense, right? A $1 bill should be smaller than a $10 bill, so you can just feel for it in your wallet without having to look in and then also groan because you have nothing in your wallet.
Well, speaking of feels, Genesys are feeling the pain already. A big fire strike coming out from Stark, but he's going to be feeling some pain himself. Straight to the back. Nubstrike has no mercy. He's going off the map, and he's not. Has he taken his over? Yes, he has. Sky and Nubstrike both off the map, but Mr. Rox and Stark are trying to bring it back, and Google have wrestled control back on the defense here. And what was an impressive Genesys attack. Yeah. Suicidal almost.
A mulberry is a tree, and Nubstrike is a man. He was able to just take it over to Sky. He took him out of the fight. So at least they have to wait for the respawn, but the fight dragged on long enough that these offensive respawns are going to come just in time for Sky to actually get back to his team for the defense here. For all that happened there, really they were only able to accrue 50% for that Brigitte. Ooh, that's a great pickoff. Stark taking out Zhao's.
Yep, Zhao don't catch those, and Killbill don't catch those either, just in time, gifting him a third eye, courtesy of that sniper rifle. Now Phoenix and Nubstrike going to be on their way. Potentially Sky and Stark going to try and chase him out here. There little mercy to be had. They are going to retreat now, allow Nubstrike and Phoenix to get away with their lives. But Genesys, they've already lost 1 minute and 20 seconds, and they don't have much ultimate charge to show for it. Meanwhile, on the side of Google, look at that. The Earth Shatter ready to go. Stark has been outperformed in these Earth Shadows on Ilios. It's going to have a bone to pick, Jameson.
Now, attrition, he's sitting at 82% towards that rally, but we do know that rally did just recently get nerfed. He has to be careful here. Earthshatter came out, but Stark was not able to connect with it. Nubstrike again, able to block it. He's at 95%, but he gets melted down by Sky, who's sitting at 96% total charge here. Only it's Bronx able to get 1 kill onto just in time. But now he's going to be feeding this on over.
There is a slight silver lining here for Genesys. Zhao still has Valkyrie. Google have used theirs, so that'll be a significant advantage in the next fight. And wow, Phoenix there with the stylish exit, thanks to Stark there with the knockback, putting him all the way over. I think do you guys have, yeah, you guys in American football have that kind of goal, right? Where you put them through a sort of gate in the air. I'm not sure what you'd call it.
Gate in the air.
A gate in the air.
Yeah. Nubstrike has already started off. 2 kills going over, but there's a Graviton along with that Dragon Strike. It's going to melt through the offense, and that was such a prime opportunity for Nubstrike to come in with that Earth Shatter, but getting stuck in that Graviton, he wasn't able to follow up with it. And so the defense are going to be able to hold on. Google are going to be able to hold on. No progress has been made whatsoever. Remember, in these assault maps, the points, they have a third demarcations where if you do accrue a third of control of it, it will not go any lower than that. But they haven't gained anything at all.
Indeed they haven't, but now they've gained a Valkyrie, and there is the Graviton Surge. From the bottom comes the Transcendence, trying to keep everyone healed up, but Nubstrike's not having any of it. Mr. Ox is going to fall, so is Sky. Stark's trying to bring it back with the Earth Shadow, but Nubstrike's managed to shield up a little bit. Zhao is keeping everyone nice and healed up with the Valkyrie. 60 HPS for everyone, and Nubstrike's just swinging for the fences just in time. He's going to find himself going up against the wave. 6 men all over him, and you can't take that for long. Genesys storming in, and in the last of seconds, they are going to claim the first point here.
Yeah, they just had so much sustain. Attrition using that rally mid-fight along with that Valkyrie, the AoE chain healing coming out from Mercy was able to keep them topped off. Of course, Phoenix, that Graviton Surge, finding some key members there. Now, they're going to have 4 minutes added onto their time as we move on to point B, but like you had mentioned at the start of this map, it's so difficult to attack on in, but not when Nubstrike connects with that Earth Shatter. Sound barrier is used to keep them all topped off, and now Nubstrike swinging for the fences once again, already at 32% charge now. And he's already picked up 2 with the help of his team, but Dragon Strike coming out from Mr. Rocks. Great charge, but it might not be enough for the offense.
Bronx invested the barrage there, but didn't quite get much off of it. Just in time, shielded up there from the Zion. Nubstrike laid down the Earth Shadow. Trillo's been laid down, but he goes in for the charge, and unfortunately Sky's going to be the one to put him down. No progress gained there for Genesys, and they did invest heavily in that. Google, on the other hand, also invested heavily. They had to. They were under so much pressure there to not get snowballed. They invested every single thing they had, and the next thing coming up probably going to be that rally. And the rally, for those of you who don't know, because Brigitte's a very new character, gives everyone 100 armor permanently, or rather adds 100 armor to the health pool of all their allies within range. That can be taken down, of course, but it does make everyone a little bit more hardy for the next fight.
We'll see if she can actually get it off, because right now it doesn't look like they're in position to actually use rally. They're going to go for it mid-fight instead. She does have it now. We'll pop it, but as she does, it's just in time to come in. living up to his name. He's got a rally of his own, but because they do have the man advantage, never mind. They're going to go ahead and use that into it because, of course, her master, the Reinhardt, was dropped low there. We'll be able to clean everyone up. The channel is still going and people are still building up the shield. So as you can see, that yellow health on their bars on the top left, that's the extra shield that she was able to give over to the rest of the team. So the Soldier 76, the Hanzo, along with Trillo on that Mercy, will be a little bit beefier for the next fight.
And attrition there also used their own. Oh, little bit of a parting gift from Bronx there. A trade, an Icy Grave for Weeble and Bob, and a normal one for Bronx being plucked out of the air. It was going to take a while longer to get back here because, of course, they do spawn much further away from the objective, and Mr. Rox is free to rain down arrows on unsuspecting victims here.
And Sky, he's got that Graviton Surge. We've seen this combo about 6 times throughout this best of 5 already, laying in wait now. On the flank, he comes on in, Graviton Surge connects, it got Kill Bill in there too. He will be able to melt him through. The barrage is used by Bronx just to try and cover them, but it's not going to be enough. Mr. Rox with that Hanzo picking up a triple kill and just being a one-man army for his team.
And that very spiky icon in the kill feed, that means he used the Storm Arrow to do it. We talked in the break about how effective that Storm Arrow is, and there's some proof for you. The proof is in the pudding, Jameson, and the pudding is very, very sour. Salty, even. No one wants
well,
a salty
pudding's a little bit different over there, isn't it?
It's generally disgusting, like most British food.
Okay. I'm a little bit spoiled being here in Southern California where we have everyone's food. We just appropriate every food in the world and then just call it fusion. But now, it's going to be Nubstrike pushing forward with that Reinhardt, but the Brigida control is just too much. He's sent all the way back to that gate. He's getting healed up now, and he's looking for that Earth Shatter, but it's a Graviton Strike. Earth Shatter is blocked. It's blocked on the opposite end, but it's going to be the charge coming out from Nubstrike that takes out just in time. Counter charge now, but Nubstrike does have some healing in wait that keeps him alive, and so he's going to continue to press forward as Nubstrike is able to take out his counterpart and start another charge onto just in time once again, as Nubstrike is able to continually just beat on the members of Google with that hammer. It looks like the first tick will come in for Google. Or for
the
Genesys.
Man has no chill. He may be an Omnic Monk, but the Zen is gone. It's all rage now from Kill Bill. He's had enough messing around. And there is attrition blocking Stark from getting in. And with 30 seconds remaining, Genesys will complete Volskaya Industries. Google now have to match that fee.
Nubstrike ending the map the same way he started it, charging someone off the edge. And honestly, this might be, he might be like the MVP for, I think, Genesys so far throughout the series, because his Reinhardt has been fantastic. He's blocked almost every one of Stark's Earth Shatters, and his own Shatters have been very effective. If he's not catching like 2 or 3 members with it, in the follow-up, you'll be able to get another Earth Shatter. In most of these fights, in these big, long, protracted fights, you'll have a second one out and we'll use it. So, it's not about the quantity, it's not about, quantity, it's about quality, but he's got both at this point.
Given his charge accuracy, I think somehow, like, he's got a bus skin, and the guys from Google just sort of, like, jump to try and catch it, but they don't realize it's actually a Reinhardt charging, and they get taken for a ride, that much is certain, but not the ride they wanted.
And luckily for them, for Genesys, even though they were stalled out on both points, they were able to complete out the map with 30 seconds on their clock. And that's very important because as we move into time bank, if Google themselves are able to capture the point, even if it's in overtime, they'll be allotted a second opportunity to attack. So it does affect the win conditions for both sides at this point.
Absolutely, time bank is important, but should they complete on the side of Google, like you said, Jameson, there will be basically a rerun, but with different amounts of time in the banks, depending on how quickly these teams completed their respective runs of Volskaya Industries. But between Google and that second attempt stands the first one, and that's basic maths for those of you out there who weren't aware of how first and second attempts work. They now have to move on to point A. They've got 4 minutes in the bank to do it, and Genesys stand ready to receive.
So, Weeble and Bob, Mr. Rox, sounds like a child's show, right? Right now, they're going to be on the Hanzo and Pharah respectively once again. Weeble and Bob able to get some good poke damage off across, but it's Nubstrike once again that comes in for Genesys, getting the first elimination with that Fire Strike, taking out just in time, but Phoenix gets a little bit too aggressive, goes beyond that gate, and now the tank line is gone for Genesys, and surely, so will the squishies follow.
Sky's had enough of your nonsense. He's glowing like a Christmas tree, even though it's June. The man doesn't care for seasons. All he cares for is blood, and he's claiming it. One red player after another, and Google, in pretty admirable time, are going to be claiming the first one here. They're going to have 7 minutes, Jameson, to try and get onto second point. So, Genesys, grab yourself a Snickers, buckle in for the long run, make yourself a protein shake, or whatever your snack of choice is in Hollywood. It's going to be a long one if you're rooting for Genesys.
Yeah, Google search how to defend point A, because they got way too aggressive there. They thought maybe they could take advantage of the Mercy going for that resurrection because she is left vulnerable, right? But they weren't able to. Instead, they were counter-engaged and they went down. And so now as we move on to point B, Trilla's going to instantly pop that Valkyrie for the AoE heals. Stark desperately needs it as he's sitting on about 100 HP. Weevil and Bob drops low, 26 HP. It's Bronx with the follow-up damage. 1-for-1 exchange though.
Trilla can potentially res fist one up. And Sky is the one once again claiming the kills. Bronx has gone down as well. 3 defenders remain. Nubstrike lays down the Earth Shadow, but Stark's going to block the charge. Excellent play there from the Reinhardt of Google, and now there's no one on the point to defend it for Genesys. Shao swatted out of a fly, swat out of the sky like a fly by Weeble and Bob, and Genesys desperately to come back in here.
There we go. We have the early barrage used to try and zone them out. They didn't even really have to Graviton there because they had all the damage in the world. Even the Dragon Strike used there to finish it off. And now Google are sitting on a huge win condition, a huge advantage. While Genesys only have 1 minute for their next offense. If they can capture point A, that'll be 1 minute and 30 with an additional 30 seconds added on. But Google, they're sitting on 6.5, a 5.5 minute difference advantage for them on their second offense.
For Google, it was nothing but child's play.
Haha. I was waiting. I was like, should I go for it or would I leave Harry that one?
No. I will always take the bad pun. You know me. We British live for bad puns.
One of the worst things though, I don't know. This might be before your generation. I'm really showing my age now. But Child's Play is also a movie franchise. I don't know if you ever.
I have no idea. I've never heard of that.
Have you ever heard of Chucky? The murderous doll, the red-haired murderous doll.
I have not. I've not heard of Chucky the murderous doll.
All right. Well, when I think of Child's Play, my first thought is always, of course, that movie franchise. But this is a completely different Child's Play. It is, of course, everything here at the AHGL After Hours Gaming League is going towards charity. And the 2 charities that they're playing for today is going to be Riley's Kids for Genesys and Child's Play for Google. So Google now just 7.5, 8 short minutes away from securing $6,500 for Child's Play.
They have their eyes on the prize, that much is certain. Jameson Sky already building himself up a fair amount of charge here, but Nubstrike's going straight in. The man doesn't have any brakes, and Killball's going to be applying the speed boost here. Stark and Nubstrike moving into each other, but Attrition's in the back trying to lay down those shotgun pellets. Mr. Rocks taking out everyone that he gets his eyes on, and Google here going to be standing strong for their first defense. 30 seconds remain for Genesys, and Bronx has got to get out of there quick time.
Honestly, it really was like they were just throwing pellets and pebbles over at the tank line. They were doing no damage. Take a look. Generally, you know, when you have a Reaper, he's supposed to be the tank killer, but he's only at 29%. Wasn't able to get that much damage across, and that's just because of the defensive setup of a Reinhardt and Zarya. They have so much damage and mitigation with the shield, along with the barriers out from Zarya, that they weren't able to do much at all. And now, with that pick onto Zhao's, this might just spell defeat for Genesys here on point A.
Nubstrike's gone deep. He's got Attrition at his back, but they need to move on the point. Overtime is in session, and just in time has fallen. But Stark is here, swinging at Phoenix. They need to stay on the point. Overtime is ticking down. You need to get on there. Phoenix is going to do it, but he sacrificed his body to do so. Nubstrike from the top, coming in from the top rope. It's an RKO out of nowhere, but he's going to get nothing for it. Overtime, once again, ticking down. The wick has burnt out. 0% accrued here for Genesys, and Google have their boot on the throat of this. They want that money for their charity, and they're spilling blood to get it, Jameson.
What that means now, because Genesys was not able to gain any sort of percentage there on point A, all Google need to do in the next 6.5 minutes is capture 1/3 of point A, and they want to do it swiftly. Already, before the gates even open, they are hovering over a 2-2-2, possibly a 3-2-1 dive composition. Come on, Justin, give us that Doomfist.
The Doomfist with the solo Mercy. Just, a tribute, a loving tribute to those quick play compositions that many of you will know so well. Come on, guys, we need a second healer, and the last guy will lock in. Doomfist, perfect.
Soldier 76. I'm a healer. I'll throw down my biotic field, right?
Sombra's a healer.
Oh yeah.
Heck, defend.
But this is a great composition, right? Honestly, anything could really work for them here. The dive composition, it's really good at jumping onto one target, taking them out, transitioning targets, and then snowballing the fight in that regard. Or they could have gone the opposite route, stayed with the composition where they had before, with the Zarya, the Pharah, along with the Hanzo, and just go for a wombo. But with the time that you're allotted, with 6.5 minutes, just to capture a third of point A, they can take this any way that they want to. They have plenty of time to actually do this.
Well, you want to be looking here is Stark. Where's he going to dive into? Because, of course, he has to be incredibly worried about attrition here on the Reaper. If he dives in too deep, he'll find himself pretty much up the river without a paddle, as we like to say in Britain. And now attrition's already laying in the fire, but Bronx is down. Sky's going to be claiming that sky-high kill, and now they've got their eyes on Zhao. They've been falling fast too many times. Mr. Rocks has still got his eyes on them, and Stark's going to be the one to fall here.
Oh, somehow Nubstrike, it looks like he's got a magnet on that. Mercy was able to get that charge off, but still, this is the great thing about the dive composition. They are scrappy when it comes into these longer engagements, and so with the help of Mr. Rocks and Weeble and Bob, they are able to clean this up. All the members gone now, no one here to even touch it, and it's going to be Google to walk away with the $6,500 as they are the champions, the After Hours Gaming League Overwatch Edition. $6,500 going on over to Child's Play.
Child's Play are going to be incredibly happy with that one, but Riley's Children's Foundation and Genesys are not walking away empty-handed. Jameson, they have $2,500 for their own cause as well. So, all in all, even with however many dead Overwatch heroes they are, the thing that matters is that there's a huge amount of children who have benefited from this massacre.
Someone has the benefit, and honestly, Stream was able to, you know, tune in for this. Thank you guys who all tuned in today. A lot of matches took place today. This was the spring season of the After Hours Gaming League, where I believe, yeah, we started off with League of Legends at the beginning of day. It was Google that walked away with that victory, so Google now 2-time champions. Here in the AHGL spring season, Dota, Microsoft walked away with that victory, and one of the Amazon teams, I imagine, had ended up winning there in our StarCraft 2 AHGL finals. So thank you all for all the teams that did compete. I believe this season alone, for the spring season of the AHGL, they had over 1,700 players, 100 different companies represented throughout the season, and, well, a lot of money given over to charity. So thank you guys all. Specifically here for Overwatch, we had 87 teams throughout this season of the AHGL, and the way it broke down, 6,500 is going over to Child's Play, 2,500 going over to Riley's Children's Foundation. Now, if you guys are looking for more information about the After Hours Gaming League, you can always, of course, go to the website, which it should be there in our in the chat, but you can also join the Discord. So discord.gg/AHGL. Join up. You'll be able to find a team if you need to, but I'm sure you're not going to have any real trouble coming up with a team for the fall season. The fall season is actually going to be great because they do have a lot more games in store. Let's go ahead and bring that screen up because I believe there are 5 games coming up for the fall season. You have plenty of time to register for it, as it looks like, there we go. Yeah, coming up in the fall, the available titles, it is going to be Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Rocket League, PlayerUnknown's Battleground, Heroes of the Storm, and Hearthstone. So 5 great titles. Get your team signed up, get your charity all figured out, get your rosters, get everything ready because, you know, it's a great way here at the AHGL to just have some fun with your coworkers, play games, and of course contribute to charity.